before we get into this episode. What you're about to hear started as a paper I wrote for my psychology class. And when I went back and reread it, I thought, this is exactly why this show exists. So I'm recording a variation of it. Here we go. If someone asked you right now, who are you? What would you say? Because for most of my life, my answer depended entirely on who was asking. I was a healer if you needed someone to look after you. I was invisible if you needed room. I was the reliable rock if you needed a companion. I was anything and everything to anyone who asked. And I genuinely thought that was just who I was. Thought I was flexible, adaptable, good at reading people. And then one day I was sitting in the silence of my own home and I realized I had no idea what my own voice sounded like when it wasn't responding to someone else's. That's what this episode is about. I grew up in DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, if you didn't know. And I want to paint you a picture of what that looked like because it matters. My dad is Black American, a musician, IT guy, a songwriter, someone with big dreams. My mom is a Thai immigrant who wanted to be a model. And I'm their kid growing up in suburban Texas in the 90s, which meant I was almost never in a room where I fully belonged. I was always the in-between. Too much of one thing, not enough of another, depending on who was counting. And when you grow up like that, when you're raised by artists who are performing for an audience and you're living in a world that's constantly trying to categorize you, you learn something really fast. You learn to read a room before you can even read a book. You learn to anticipate what people need. You learn that adapting yourself is how you stay safe. So what I'm really saying is the people pleasing wasn't random. It made sense. It wasn't a character flaw. That a survival strategy doesn't care about your identity. It just cares about getting you through the moment. So here's what I actually learned when I started sitting with this. I have what they would call an anxious attachment style, which is just a fun way of saying that when someone pulls away from me, my nervous system doesn't read it as distance. It reads it as danger. And what that created over years and years of operating that way was this. I got very, very good at making myself agreeable. Every part of me that was soft and easy and agreeable got polished. Anything that was inconvenient or complicated or hard to explain, tucked it away. I didn't do this consciously. I want to be clear about that. This wasn't a strategy I chose. It was something that happened slowly, the way water shapes a rock. You don't notice it until one day you look and the rock is completely different. And what I eventually noticed was I had no idea which parts of me were actually mine. I had been so good at reflecting other people back to themselves that I had genuinely lost track of what I actually thought, what I actually wanted, what I actually felt in a moment before I ran it through the filter of, how will this land? There's a term in psychology, cognitive dissonance. Basically, it means you're holding two completely contradictory things in your head at the same time. And your brain is exhausting itself, trying to make both of them true. Mine went like this. I know my worth. And I am accepting a relationship that requires me to shrink. Both were true at the same time. for longer than I want to admit. And I want you to understand what that actually feels like in your body, because it's not just a thought, it's a physical thing. I could feel it in my chest, like something was being compressed, like I was running a background process constantly, one that was checking, adjusting, monitoring, and it was eating everything. Eventually, something had to give. And I chose to let it be the version of me that kept shrinking. One day, I stood over my bathroom sink and I bleached my hair. Not highlighted, bleached. And to be clear, I love wigs, extensions, all of that kind of stuff. So I had tested this color for a year before I made the commitment. But in sitting with all of these thoughts and realizations, it just became you know what, fuck it. I removed years of this red, which was the color that I had for almost my entire marriage. And I transitioned to a metallic silver. It was harsh. And when I say multi-day, I mean over the course of like months. So like I had to spend multiple days out of months of doing this because I would be bald if I did it back to back. So let me just be clear on that. It still caused damage, even spacing it out. I knew it would, but I needed something I could see every day that reminded me that version of you is gone. The silver is what came after. I'm not the same woman who spent a decade trying to be the perfect mirror for everyone else. And I need to see that in my own reflection before I can say it out loud. Here's where I want to leave you. If any of this sounds familiar, if you spent any part of your life being so good at reading rooms, you forgot how to check in with your own, I want you to know that's not a weakness. That's not a mistake. That was you surviving with what you had. But survival strategies have an expiration date. The question I'm sitting with right now, and I'm genuinely still sitting with it, I don't have a clean answer, is this: who are you when no one needs anything from you? I don't know that I fully know yet, but I'm learning what my own voice sounds like. And that feels like enough for right now. If this one hits somewhere real, send it to someone who needs to hear it. And come find me on Instagram at Healing in Hindsight. I want to know what it brought up for you. Keep healing, keep shifting, but make it yours.